It was an ordinary day in 2009, and the telephone rang here in the Yeshiva Chavetz Chaim. Rabbi Schwartz, the then executive director of the yeshiva, answered the phone, and it was someone from Governor Patterson's office.
There was someone on the phone asking about Rabbi Lebowitz. Rav Henoch Lebowitz Zatzal was the Rosh Yeshiva here at the yeshiva, and he had passed away the year before.
Rabbi Schwartz inquired as to why this staff member was calling, and the staff member explained that the governor's office was passing some legislation which was questionable in its ethics, and Governor Patterson said very firmly that this does not pass the Rabbi Lebowitz smell test, and therefore he rejected the legislation. So the staff was obviously very curious as to who Rabbi Lebowitz was and what the smell test was.
Yeshiva had applied for a program to install new low-voltage fluorescent fixtures throughout the building, and we were approved.
The yeshiva at that time was awarded $75,000, which was the estimate that the work would cost to convert all of the yeshiva's lights to the more energy-efficient type.
Rabbi Ginsburg, alav shalom, who had been the executive director of the yeshiva, called all the electricians he knew, and he worked on it for 2 or 3 weeks, and with Hashem's help, he was able to find a frum electrician in Brooklyn who was willing to do the whole job for $60,000, which would mean that the yeshiva would be able to benefit from the extra $15,000, which at the time was a tremendous amount of money, and the yeshiva did not have any money.
So he went to the Rosh Yeshiva, Rav Henoch Zatzal, thrilled that now the yeshiva had made $15,000. Rav Henoch asked exactly how we got this money, and he explained that, the government had awarded us $75,000, but I got the job done for $60,000. And Rosh Yeshiva Zatzal said, Chas v'shalom, we can't keep this money. It's not our money.
Rabbi Ginsburg said to the Rosh Yeshiva, they estimated how much the job would cost, and that's how much they sent us. The fact that I spent several weeks, I was able to find a cheaper vendor than what the people in Albany were willing to pay for, that was my work. But the Rosh Yeshiva said, no, they're the ones giving the money, and all our use of the money has to comply with their guidelines.
Rabbi Ginsburg then called the government office that was dealing with this program.
The person who answered the phone said, we don't have a protocol in place for people to send back money. We give out money. We don't take money. He says, well, I have extra money. I can't keep it. Please find out what I should do with the extra money. He said, okay, call me back in 2 weeks.
Rosh Yeshiva Zatzal did not let up, and he kept on following up with Rabbi Ginsburg saying, what's the story? Where's this money going? How are we going to get back to them? Rabbi Ginsburg took this assignment very, very seriously.
We called back in 2 weeks, and the person said, I was not able to find anyone here at the agency who knew what to do with extra money. When we discussed it with the Rosh Yeshiva, he said, well, then just write a check and mail it back to the agencies in Albany.
Governor Patterson apparently was involved in the New York State government at the time, and he got wind of this story. And he proclaimed that Rabbi Lebowitz was the most honest person in the state of New York. Decades later, the smell test of a non-Jewish politician is the Rabbi Lebowitz smell test.
A few months ago, one of my colleagues was at an event, and David Patterson and his wife were also at this event. So he walked over to the table where David Patterson and his wife were sitting, and he asked them, is it true that Mr. Patterson says that things that are not 100% don't pass the Rabbi Lebowitz smell test? And Mrs. Patterson piped up and said, he says it at home all the time.
One decision that the Rosh Yeshiva made, his commitment to be Mekadesh Shem Shamayim, decades later is being spoken about in Albany about something completely unrelated.